The Chinese Club Challenge Cup is our first feature race for 2018 on our final Racing to Win for 2017. A very warm welcome to the show. I'm Andrew Lejeune, joined here in the studio by Brett Davis and John Blance. We've doubled down on the race callers once more. And John, the feature race, a Group 3 in name only, though, because we've got Group 1 horses of the present and some Group 1 horses of the future as well, I think.
Well, it's an absolute cracker. It's one of the best races I can remember this season, certainly in terms of intrigue. You've got the likes of Beauty Only back to 1,400, Peniophobia up to 1,400. Those three very unexposed horses down the bottom. And Hélène Paragon has run two fantastic races. It really has, it's really attracted a very, very strong field.
Certainly has. And if that's not enough for you, Brett, then we've got a $17 million triple trio. How about that for a lucky start?
Absolutely, yeah. Estimated dividend of $17 million, $10 million jackpot. There is a $1 million jackpot in a couple of the first fours and quartets as well, races 7 and 11. So a lot of extra money floating around there for the 11 race card. And we've got 12 horses on debut as well, Andrew, so that just throws in a little bit of an extra challenge factor with 12 new horses, and some of them look pretty special.
They do, yeah. We've got some horses on the Derby Trail, John, Lockheed, and the first start for the Queensland Derby winner as well, Riven.
Yes, and that is the definite ruling on how we're pronouncing him. So, yeah, he's... Well, exactly. So he ran very well in his first barrier trial on the turf. Not quite so good on the dirt, but obviously all that class that he brings from Australia, he's very, very intriguing.
Cheerful Giggles as well, of course, finished second to him in the Queensland Derby, and he makes his debut in the same race. And really, when you go back through the form, Andrew, you know, double back a couple of years, it's just Werther all over again almost, isn't it?
All right, we will find out in due course. 11 races, as Brett said, but we have got a couple of horses scratched out of the programme. We'll get through those first. Fire and Gold, who was one of the first starters, is out. Glenelly Prize will take his place now, and Berta Rispoli in the saddle. And race 7, number 2, Victory Marvel, is out in race number 8 as well. Bigwood is a scratching there. Showing a bit of promise on debut. Bigwood will have to wait another day for him. 11 race programme, as Brett said, B+2 course, all on the turf as well for Monday's New Year's Day programme. We kick off with a Class 5 over the 1,400 metres. Joyful Forever gets the blinkers back on. Class 5 for the first time for him. Everstrong blinkers off. He gets up from the 1,000 to the 1,400 metres. Fair Comment, course and distance first time. Alberto Sanna from Barrier 4. Winning Boy was runner-up behind Golden Glory last time out. Golden Cannon, that was the last start winner. That was at Happy Valley, all the way down to Dong Wong Choi. Blinkers back on for him. Drops from the 1,800 back to the 1,400 here, John.
Yeah, not easy to produce a speed map for this race. Golden Cannon, though, is a pretty safe bet to go forward. He should get a lead in the race. Scarborough Fair went forward 2 or 3 starts ago. Less certain what he'll do this time round. And Tauto's got a good draw in Gate 1.
Kick off with a couple of Class 5s, the first 2 races. Just looking at Joyful Forever here, he's working quite nicely there. It's his first run into this class. He's had 6 starts so far and hasn't done a great deal, but he is working nicely. Drawn outside barrier, which is going to be some concern, and the blinkers go back on. This horse, Fair Comment, hasn't done a great deal either, but his last start was his best effort. He's just rolling along in the mornings. It's going to be interesting to see what he does stepping up to 1,400, because there was a sign of some form last start. And as John mentioned, the likely leader, Golden Cannon, you can see he's very keen in the morning. He'll be keen early as well, I would have thought, to try and get across from barrier number 8. And if he can find the front, he should give a decent sight, because he, of course, did win over a longer trip last start.
Not much of him, under £1,000. There's not much of Winning Boy either. Here's where we'll start. Runner-up at Happy Valley last time out. You've also got Scarborough Fair in the field, Striking Star and a Toto.
Yeah, Winning Boy's been very, very consistent, albeit at this lowly level for quite some time now. He hasn't had a bad season. Gate 12, though, is going to be tricky for him. Scarborough Fair can deal me out of him after had him as a decent long shot a few meetings ago, and he didn't go particularly well. Of those here, yeah, I think Winning Boy is going to go in the numbers for me, but Gate 12 is not easy.
I haven't really got any of them in the tips. I thought Ototo a few starts ago might be close to performing when he dropped in class, but he did that last stunt and it didn't happen. And right. I don't like him over the longer trip, to be honest. OK. What about
Golden Cannon? Last start winner. The margin wasn't huge, but he won all the same. It was a short head ahead of Jolly Amber.
Well, we know it's not usual for Class 5 gallopers to back up a victory, but having said that, he has been in reasonable form. He's been placed in his last 4. He's been placed 4 out of 5 this season, so he's racing consistently for a Class 5 galloper. The 1650, I think, stretched him, so he did a good job to win there. He'll be in front. He'll be in front for a long way.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised he hadn't run very often at Happy Valley, because I thought it was a race that would suit, a track that would suit his style of racing. And yeah, I think he'll go pretty well. As Brett said, he's had a consistent year.
All right. Fair Comments. Barrier 4 for him. He's a horse that I've made an argument for in the past. I'm struggling to get him into the numbers this time, but He's just one of those horses, isn't he?
I'm just going to look at the fresh side of things, Andrew. You know, as I said before with Golden Cannon, they don't often back it up, so I'm going to go with this horse. I just like the way he closed off here. This, of course, was a real dash, wasn't it, over the shorter trip. I thought it was a reasonable run. I'm going to take a little chance on him. I think you'll get a reasonable price about him, and he'll do for me in a Class 5 that looks tricky.
I'm slightly concerned about the bounce with him, but if that's a fair representation of where he's at now, he's got a very strong chance.
All right, so there we go for the first 1400 of the trip. I was going to call him So You Think there. Fair comment. Yeah. By So You Think.
That he is, yes. There's a couple of his progeny running on the day. I'm going to go with him. On an each-way basis, you know, you can get 10 to 1 at the moment. Ever Strong. Now, they've taken the blinkers off. Zach Purton jumps back aboard. I'm sure they're going to ride him with a touch of patience, and I think that's when he'll do his best. There is an engine there with him for sure. Victor Emperor's not in the best of form, but he's clearly in the right class. And Laughing Lord's not one I've had a great deal of time for, but he was only a neck off Invisible 3 starts ago. This course and distance, he's drawn well. So I've gone 8, 5, 7, 12. It's not an easy race. I'm happy to play an exotic there with the QQP.
Yeah, $5.30 the field there tells a bit of a story. I'm going to go with the one that Brett had in for fourth there, Laughing Lord. He's been a bit wide in his last 2 runs, should get a good run in transit this time round. Golden Cannon's in good form, as indeed is Winning Boy. And the Tauto, it's not a horse I'm a huge fan of, but he does get a good gate this time round. So 12, 11, 10 and 2 with 12. A good each-way bet at the moment.
Yeah, I can't see too many best bets coming up in that race, but I'd give Golden Cannon a chance to go back-to-back in the first.